This is the Know Your Law series by Barefoot Law, a non-profit organization which uses digital innovation and technology to provide free legal information and guidance for all. For more information, visit www.barefootlaw.org. Hello, welcome back to the Know Your Law series by Barefoot Law, where we discuss everything legal. In this particular episode, we are going to be talking about contracts, and we're very, very excited that you are here. For those who have come back, thank you very much for coming back. And for those who have found their way here, we are very glad to have you. So today I am going to be speaking to a very good lawyer. I know he's really good. Trust me, he's good. My name is Trudy, and I'd like to introduce our lawyer. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Trudy. I'm Kennedy.
Yes.
I work with Barefoot Law, and I'm happy to be here with you.
Oh, thank you very much. So we really have very many questions that have come into us about contracts. People are really worried about their contracts. Yeah. Are you ready to answer as many questions as possible?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'm curious. One of the questions that came in was contracts. Are they only about things that we are going to do? Or they can be about things that we have done in the past, or are they about things that we wish we could do?
Oh, that's actually a very good question. I would like to start off by saying that every day we engage in contracts. So in answering this question, I may also want to start with the fact that think of it as a day-to-day activity and transaction you engage in. And to respond directly to that, the answer would be no. Contracts are not only about things you're going to do. They could be about things you've already done, or things that talk about a particular transaction which is yet to be completed. For example, if you buy an item from a shop, you pay money most of the time, and then you're issued a receipt. The receipt is what we see as evidence of a contract for having made a purchase. So in that way, the contract or the evidence that shows you have a contract with a shopkeeper is coming after you've already contracted and made a payment for an item. Secondly, contract would also be about a particular transaction involving a land purchase, where someone makes a payment but is waiting upon the seller to sign particular documents, avail particular copies of the land title probably, and then finalize a transaction. In that way, the contract between the buyer and the seller on land is what we can call a contract about things that have already been commenced, but are to be continued and completed after a particular act. So it's also understandable that ordinarily a person would think that a contract is only about things you're going to do in the future. But sometimes it will also require things completed being finalized by evidence of a contract. Yes.
Okay, that makes so much sense. What about in terms of work done or work to be done? If I have already done work,
yes,
and do I need to pay a contract? Do I need to sign a contract?
Yes, you do need to sign a contract, especially to express that you've already completed your side of the bargain under contract. It can also happen, for example, where an individual is requested to perform particular acts. Maybe, let's take an example of a house. They come and they look around, a painter that is, they come and look around and examine what needs to be done. They commence the work by doing some refreshing bit of activities to the house. They paint, and then in the middle of that transaction or that activity of painting, a contract is finalized. Now, in that way, they would have been in their best entitlement or right to enter into a contract to safeguard any interest they have. Now, as much as this is also possible, we usually encourage people to agree and enter into contracts before commencing work. Reason is you make it easy for you to enforce what you're entitled to, for example, as payment for work you're going to be able to engage in and be able to do for another individual. And that way you have actual proof of what you agreed to, what we can call meeting of minds, and then what you agreed to be paid for the work to be done. So that in the event there is any conflict that arises, you're comfortable using a contract or agreement that you initially entered into to perform your part. Yes.
Okay, so in the past I've said that sometimes when people enter contracts, they just flip to the page that talks about how much am I paying? Hey, okay, this is the amount of money. Okay, fine. But are all contracts supposed to benefit you? Must there be a benefit to the person that's signing the contract? Or sometimes you can just sign a contract for air?
By principle, a person should be able to benefit from a contract.
Okay.
In the event that you are used, let me use that term, to sign a contract where you're not getting any benefit, it doesn't pass the test of a valid contract, enforceable before the law. It also goes back to elements, a few basic elements that must be available for you to have a lawful and valid contract. First, there must be various individuals or parties who agree on particular terms and also exchange value or exchange a benefit under a contract. Without the agreement on terms to exchange value, it makes it irregular, if I may use that word, for you to be able to say that whatever you agreed upon and what you have and signed to is actually a lawful and valid contract. Yes.
All right, interesting. And then if a friend of mine, for example, signed a contract, but they call me to do some of the work for them, can I enter that contract? I mean, as a contract that I did not sign.
In that way, it goes back to the previous question. If someone expects you to perform work you did not agree to, or perform work that you're even not going to get a benefit to, it would be unlawful in terms of contract law for that to be called a valid contract. Okay? In the same way, if such a contract exists, it will be invalid and unenforceable. Again, here we examine another element I also mentioned earlier on, that for you to have a valid contract, which is, by definition, an agreement between two or more individuals, which is legally enforceable. There's a key word, agreement. So if you do not agree to perform particular activities or acts, you cannot be expected to perform, right? In that way, the friend called after sometime and expected to implement a part of a contract without knowledge, actually cannot be able to perform under such a contract because she did not agree, and it's an unlawful kind of transaction she's trying to be involved in. So no, you may not be expected to perform under contract that you did not agree to and you're unaware of.
Okay, so I guess that brings to life the quote that there are no friends in business.
True, and no free lunches.
Yeah, so if I have two contracts with the same person, does that cancel one of them or the original one?
It could cancel one of the contracts in the event that you are agreeing on new circumstances. But it could also be used as an extension of the first one. So what you need to understand that first of all, are people agree on a same set of activities to be done, or is the agreement based upon entirely new activities? And to answer the question specifically, does a new contract cancel the previous one? If it's based on new circumstances, it may not. Okay? Because it's, okay, so, sorry, if it's based on new circumstances, it may cancel a previous contract.
Okay.
But if it's coming from facts or activities of the initial contract, then it may be an extension of the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, okay. That makes so much sense. Thank you. And then, can a contract stop me from entering other contracts?
Yes. A contract could stop you from entering into other contracts, especially if you have already made an expression that you perform particular activities for a specific individual in a given time. You may not be seen to contract with another person to provide a similar kind of activity. I'll give an example. If you're in employment, and I'm going to talk about a contract of services. If you're employed and you're an employee to a specific organization or an entity, and you're providing your professional services for a given period of time, accepting a particular payment, and you have agreed to be available for that duration. If you attempt to enter into another similar contract with another entity, the first contract of employment you have with the first organization can actually stop you from finalizing, entering, and implementing a consequent contract. For the benefit that you have already made a representation, you have already expressed yourself to be available to the initial employer.
Okay.
Yes.
That makes so much sense. So my role model in life is Fresh Kid. If Fresh Kid, I mean, I've seen Fresh Kid going into, he has deals, he's on billboards, he's on this, on that.
Yes.
Can anyone of any age be allowed to enter a contract?
That's a good question, and Fresh Kid indeed is quite the celebrity of our times. Legally, though, coming to the principles of contracting, all children, those are individuals or people below the age of 18, are only capable of contracting for necessities, basic necessities, food, clothing, and healthcare.
Okay.
They may not be capable of contracting for things we can require as luxuries. For example, Fresh Kid cannot buy a car in his own name. In the same right, he may not be able to buy land or property such as buildings because they're not incidental to him as necessities. The exceptions, though, for example, rich children, I will use that, who are coming from wealthy background. There may be a circumstance where they want to maybe purchase a car for transportation or to move in a very protected way. If indeed they can prove that it's a necessity to them and their lifestyle, then maybe. But ordinarily that's an exception, and it's regarded that all children, people below 18 years, may not be able to purchase luxuries or anything that is not a necessity to them.
So Fresh Kid would be a rich kid in this case?
Fresh Kid is a celebrity, but I don't think he's a rich kid per se. So he may not be able
Well, you never know.
to contracts away from necessities.
Okay. Thank you very much for listening to this section of the show. Should you want more information on the law and any question that you might have, just subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share. I cannot express enough how much you need to share so that other people know about it, and then we can inform as many people as possible. Our contact details are going to be shared below, so just look below and make sure you write them down or just have them somewhere so that you can reach us at any time for free legal guidance. Thank you very much.